2/20/23. Number 3871, Love in a Biscuit. And it starts with a quote, "Mister, I'm on my way to silence. Can you let me have a sip of words?" That's Kim Hyun. Wasn't what I was looking for in there. Pretty much anything sweet would have been fine by me. Love is a biscuit. And now we are go-kart racing with Billie Eilish, etc. How do I find the sweet that is in me? Artificial sweetener, which I began using to make coffee more palatable around the time I moved to San Francisco. Saccharin, excessively sweet or sentimental. I'm from the South, so of course, but let's do it without the real sugar, I thought. Remembering Dad holding a spoon of his first, second, third, etc. glazed ceramic cup. This was before the overkill of bulky mugs. Almost dainty, but holding a spoon as a sort of upside-down umbrella over the mouth of the coffee teacup in one hand, while the other held the bottom of the sugar dispenser butt up with a sheer white pour that lasted what seems like a minute. The spoon never moved, really, just overfilled with the white granules until an oval-shaped wall of sugar began to cascade down into the cup from the rim of the spoon. This goes on for some time. Then finally the sugar is right side up, back on the table in front of his saucer. Maybe one swivel with thumb and forefinger to tip the rest of the sweet stuff out of the spoon and into the cup, which would now be seemingly half filled with sugar. Then the coffee would be poured over the granules, topped off generously with whole milk. And the spoon, during this phase of the ritual or performance, would be stirring the goop back into a syrupy liquid, but in no time flat. The cup would be slurped all but dry, with a few dregs of the toast he'd sop into the slurry for good measure, so that he'd be back again at measuring out the teaspoons of cascading sugar, starting the process over again, whether by genetics or by virtue of growing up in the South. My tongue wants things that just as sweet. But Dad was diagnosed with diabetes a few years before his early passing, and Mom was diagnosed well before that and sits for dialysis 3 times a week. So I suppose when I started using the artificial sweetener some 20 years ago, I was doing so with a glimpse of this potential future, even though by then I had yet to be told that I was even pre-diabetic. Hence the Splenda, which still does a trick for me and my saccharin-seeking tongue. Where was I going with this? Well, the music of Billie Eilish got me here, I suppose, and as reminiscent and rooted as her music is in the melancholy or goth or emo or whatever pop calls its minor keys these days, she's about as sweet as they come, it seems to me, especially as interviewed by David Letterman, whose snide curmudgeon has worked its way into his entire demeanor, and yet the longer that graybeard grows, the tamer and sweeter the man gets. So that nowadays, as the interview streams through the airwaves to my laptop, which then gets to me, comes at me as more sugar poured for the duration into my head through my eyes and ears. What will I use to stir this admixture into my cynical brain, I wonder, now that the king of snide has become Grandpa's sweetheart? The logic of betraying every man's sweeter side when he once was the singular resonant voice of cynicism before the world even needed it. And so we apologetically get a grip on this another day of sweet sorrow.